love Nintendo, as you guys probably know, but they haven't always made the best decisions. So what I did today was, I asked ChatGPT what it thought were the 10 most controversial decisions in Nintendo's history. Now, some of these you guys might predict, and some you might not see coming, so with that said, let's see what ChatGPT has for us today. So at number 10, we have a very, very recent one. It was like, maybe like a year or two ago, but, you guys know the Wii U and 3DS, right? And their eShops are actually kind of cool. They have like a bunch of cool retro games, cool designs to them. But in 2023, Nintendo decided to finally close down the 3DS and Wii U eShops. And a lot of people were kind of split. A lot of people were, you know, fine with it because we have the Switch eShop, which has, you know, a lot of stuff that the other ones had. But the other ones were kind of not okay because, I mean, people didn't have their Switches, so they, you know, were playing games on the Wii U and 3DS eShop still. There are still games that are on those eShops that are not on Switch Online. So, for me, I was kind of okay with this because I stopped buying on these eShops like a long, long time ago. But I can see why people were maybe a bit iffy on this. I did see it coming eventually because, you know, these consoles are like, you know, a decade or so old at this point. So, it was gonna happen eventually, right? I mean, the infamous Wii Shop channel, or not infamous, but the popular Wii Shop channel, did close in like 2019, so, you know, that was to be expected too. So, for me, I'm okay with this, but, I don't think this is like among their, like, absolute worst decisions ever, but, controversial, I would maybe agree to an extent, so, yeah, I agree about, like, half here. Like, again, it doesn't affect me, but for a lot of people, they were really pissed at this. So, yeah, this one, to me, I think does make a bit of sense. So, number 9, I can't touch on a whole lot because I don't play this series at all. I've not played a single game in this series, I believe, and that is the Star Fox series. So, in 2016, the year before at E3, they showed this game for the first time, and people were kind of hyped for it, but then the game came out and people were not thrilled. And that game is, of course, Star Fox Zero. And the big reason why is because of the kind of forced-in motion controls. Now, at the time, people were, you know, kind of praising it because, you know, having the gamepad be like the cockpit and getting to shoot from that did look kind of cool. But then the game came out and people realized, I guess, that it wasn't their cup of tea. And, again, I don't have a lot to say here because I don't play Star Fox. I mean, I might in the future, but, you know, haven't touched Zero at all. So, I guess in the comments, if you play Star Fox Zero, let me know if you have another, like, you know, hot take about, well, it's not gaming hot takes, but, if you have more to say on this topic in terms of Star Fox Zero's controls, then, let me know down below. But, for me, all I'll say is I understand it from what I'm seeing here. If the motion controls looked cool at first, but then weren't, that's definitely controversial. So, we'll see. I'll play it in the future, and I'll get back to you guys. So, at number 8, let's talk about the Zelda franchise, because a lot of its games are obviously great and iconic, but let's go back to a year called, I think, 2001 or 2002, when the GameCube was coming out, you know, goated system. But at the time, people were expecting, you know, a realistic sort of Zelda game, kind of like Metal Gear Solid to an extent. But then what we got was a cartoony Zelda game being The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. And at the time, again, not right now, but people at the time were not thrilled. They did not want a cartoon Zelda. They thought it looked stupid. It made no sense. The graphics were cute, but it didn't fit with Zelda. And now, fast forward all these years later, and Wind Waker is maybe one of the most beloved, like, top 5 Zelda games of all time, because it's aged so well. And honestly, I'm right there. I love Wind Waker, but to think that at the time, this game was getting bombed by people because of the change in art style, like, I wasn't there for that time, but if I was there, I would probably be, like, you know, defending this game, because I would have loved its cartoon art style. But I understand, like, people did really want their realistic Zelda game, which we got with Twilight Princess, obviously, years later. But, you know, GameCube was their, you know, next home console. People were like, okay, it's time for Zelda to really, you know, make a change and be more gritty. And then we got this, and people were like, no, don't do cartoon Zelda, it sucks, like, it looks too cute, no. But then, you know, obviously now it's beloved for a reason, so, yeah, if I was there, like, alive and I was a gamer during this time, I would have definitely, you know, been a supporter of this game. I would have said it looked cool. I would have said, like, you know, give it a chance. It'll probably grow on you. So, yeah, thank God nowadays Wind Waker is beloved as it should be. But at the time, it definitely was not. Oh boy, guys. Number 7 is one that I think all of us were there for. At least, you know, ones that are, you know, gamers right now. We were there for this time, and, you know, if you know, you know. So, there's this cool thing called Switch Online, right? And they were gonna add this new expansion pack, which had like a bunch of DLCs on it, like Octo expansion, as well as N64 and Sega Genesis games. But then they showed us the pricing, which is not here. I should have gotten a better picture. But it was revealed that this expansion pack would cost $50 a year. Pretty much the same kind of price that Sony and Microsoft were doing for Xbox and PlayStation. But people were not thrilled here, and for a good reason. Nintendo's online, for the most part, is pretty hit or miss. There's a lot of times where it works perfectly, like Splatoon and sometimes Mario Kart, but a lot of their online games, like Mario Maker 2, Smash Bros., their online was never really that great. So people were right to, you know, say that these prices were not justified because their online was not worth it. It was not worth paying $50 a year for that online. Even though you got like all these cool benefits like, you know, DLCs, N64 NSO, Sega NSO, Game Boy eventually. People just didn't think that the price reflected the value of the overall online, you know, services of Nintendo games, and rightfully so, because I played a lot of games online that a lot of them were kind of poor experiences. Like Mario Maker 2 is like number 1 for me. So yeah, this was a time. That trailer got a bunch of dislikes. They keep, you know, for some reason uploading it every single year. I don't know why they keep doing that, but people still don't like it. Even though nowadays the value is definitely going to be there with, you know, GameCube being added and, you know, more to it. But at the time, the price was for sure not justified. So I'm with people here. I didn't like it. I don't even have the expansion pack. I never bought it. I don't have it at all. I've not bought it once. I might for GameCube. We'll see. But I was not going to pay $50 a year for that poor online service. Even though they had a bunch of benefits with it. It was not worth it. So yeah, people were definitely right to criticize Nintendo for this decision of, you know, making you pay $50 for the expansion pack. It was not worth it at that time. Alright, at number 6, let's go to the Metroid franchise, and you guys might know exactly where I'm going with this. So in 2015, they had their E3 conference. In my opinion, their worst presentation of all time. That E3 was bad for Nintendo. That whole Direct was just, it was kind of ass. And one of the big reasons why is because they showed a Metroid game without Samus. And it wasn't really and it was called Metroid Prime. But, it did not deserve the Prime tagline, and that is, of course, Metroid Prime Federation Force. Now, here's the thing. I have played this game, alright? I do not think it is as bad as people make it out to be. I think it's a pretty decent game overall. But to call it a Metroid Prime game, that's the biggest slap in the face, because this is not a Metroid Prime game. It's like a Metroid, you know, sort of side game almost. So, if they just called it like Metroid Federation Force, that would have been fine, I guess. But when you tag on Metroid Prime, an iconic series, you know, those games are like iconic, and you slap on this, and then you make a game that's nothing like Metroid Prime, people were not happy. And then to not include Samus. Now, again, spoiler alert, she is in the ending of the final boss fight, which is kind of a cool, you know, cameo. But to not have her as a main character after, you know, every game has had her as a main character in some way, shape, or form, people did not like it, and for a good reason. Like, this trailer, like the Switch expansion pack trailer, got a bunch of dislikes. People were not happy with it. That trailer ended up getting, you know, a lot of attention. And, yeah, I think nowadays people are kind of, you know, they're kind of coming around on this game being at least somewhat decent. Because now we have, like, Metroid Prime is, you know, got its 4th game in the series. We have more 2D Metroids now with, like, Metroid Dread. But at this time, when Metro was kind of dead for like 5 years at that point, there was no new games coming out. People were hoping for a, either a sequel to a previous game or a reboot or something, or a brand new game in the actual Metroid Prime series. And getting this for people was definitely not it. So, yeah, decent game for what I played, but their whole mistake here was putting the Prime tag on it. It does not deserve it. Stop! Now she'll die a virgin. Stop! Stop it! Okay. Stop. Okay.
Stay the fuck in the fucking car!
Oh, fuck! That was a sneak peek of all the content that you might be missing out on by not becoming a YouTube member. When you're a YouTube member, you get so much bonus content such as all my anime watch-throughs, classic content like old Twitch streams, movie watch-alongs, and more. So what are you waiting for? Hit the join button down below, pick the tier you want, and enjoy all the benefits that come with your YouTube membership. If you're already a member, thank you for your support, enjoy your benefits, and now let's get back into the video. Alright, on to number 5, as ChatGPT says here. So you guys know I'm a creator, right? I play Nintendo games a lot of the time. But in 2015, it was not a fun time to be a Nintendo creator. And the big reason why is because they had a thing called the Creator Program, which is like a way to like, make games and not have to like pay or... I don't know the whole like gist of it. But basically, in 2015, Nintendo was going to, I think... Oh, here, I'll screw the thing. There you go. Sorry. Nintendo was going to... basically take a cut of revenue from every person that uploads like Nintendo content at all. And people who were, big creators in the Nintendo community were not happy about it. They kind of spoke up about it as well. And I think if I was around like streaming and, recording stuff during that time, I would have been pissed too. Like, to give them a cut of my revenue, like, yeah, there's, like, copyright and stuff, I get it, but, like, there's so many companies out there that don't even care if you stream their games or record their games, like Activision, Sony, I think, is fine with it, Microsoft, like, Nintendo was just so weird during this time, like, you want your games to get out there, right? Like, people streaming your game and recording videos of your game helps your game reach, more audiences, so the fact that you want people to pay money for that because you think your games are just so good and people can't be making content on them, that's just kind of shitty in my opinion. So people were definitely right to, speak up on this. I would have been there as well if I was around during that time, making videos and whatnot and streaming. So, yeah, this was a very shitty time to be a Nintendo fan or a creator especially. So at number 4, we have one that I think was talked about a lot during the time that it came out, but nowadays people don't really talk about it that much, which is the Smash Bros. Brawl tripping mechanic. Now, Smash Bros. Brawl I love so much. Not the best Smash game for sure, but it's a very iconic game for a reason. But for some reason, they had a weird mechanic where at times your character would trip over their feet and, like, it would cause you to stumble a little bit. And people were not happy about it because, it's a dumb idea because you put it in a fighting game where the whole goal is to be, like, quick and upbeat and, like, combo your attacks to, like, smash your opponent off the screen. But you add this random tripping that just, shouldn't even be there for no reason. Like, it's kind of dumb. It makes it less skill-based, in my opinion. It's a dumb mechanic. I agree here, but I don't think it's, like, the top 5 for me in terms of, like, the worst Nintendo decisions of all time. But at the time, like, I think that's why Smash Bros. Brawl kind of got some flack when it came out, is because that mechanic is just so dumb. Like, it shouldn't even be there at all. Now, there have been more controversial Smash stuff in other games that are not here on the list, but this one does need to be on there because it's just dumb. It's such a dumb thing to have a tripping mechanic in a freaking fighting game. It makes no goddamn sense. Thank God no other game has had this, as far as I'm aware. So, and it's not in other Smash games, thankfully, but, yeah, dumb mechanic, I agree here. Oh man, we're in the top 3, you guys. Now, number 3, like the Switch expansion pack that we talked about earlier, is one that I think a lot of us can also agree on. So, in 2019, Pokemon released their newest mainline games, being Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, as you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of them. There's a lot I don't like about them. And this reason right here is actually not one of them, which is, of course, the infamous Dexit, which is where they cut the decks, finally, for Pokemon. So not every Pokemon would be in the game as other games had. And, you know, Pokemon fans were definitely pissed the hell off. Now, again, for me, I was fine with it, because, again, there are a lot of Pokemon at this point. There's like over 1,000 now. So it was going to happen eventually, at least in my opinion. So, I was like, you know what, fine, because for me, the issues I have with Sword and Shield extend beyond this, the whole Dex cut, but, like, when that was announced at, like, an E3, like, treehouse thing they were doing, where they, like, were playing the game for an audience, and then I think the director of the game announced that, where it's like, you know, unfortunately we have to cut the decks, and we can't, you know, have them all in the game anymore, because it takes so much time to, like, have the models and whatnot. And I think when that first started trending, like, people were in an uproar. Like, Twitter was, like, talking about it. The video, of course, got a lot of dislikes. No surprise there. But yeah, this reason for sure is definitely justified. But again, for me, I didn't really care about it. It was fine. You know, it's gonna happen eventually. Like, when you can't... Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? If they just stop rushing out games like Scarlet and Violet and, I guess... Well, that's a big example, Scarlet and Violet. If they stop rushing out games every year, they can have all the Pokemon potentially in the game finally. So if they cook with ZA in the next like Gen 10 game, then we might see this not happen anymore. I don't know. But at the time, yeah, this was definitely a time to not be a huge Pokemon fan, because people were just not happy with this. People were just talking about it all the time. But for me, I was fine with it. It is what it is, but if you're pissed by it, you were definitely justified here, because man, was that a time. Okay, at number 2, I am so glad that ChatGPT put this on here, because this, for me, is my number 1 in terms of my least favorite Nintendo decisions of all time. This, like, once you see it, you'll know why, alright? So, 2020, right, was a pretty... It was a year, right? COVID... Games were getting delayed. Nintendo was kind of suffering a bit at that point. They had good games at that time. They had, like, you know, Hyrule Warriors, Paper Mario. They had Ring Fit. No, Ring Fit was 2019, I think. Yeah. Animal Crossing as well. But in September, they had a Mario 35 Anniversary Direct. And it was kind of hype. They revealed Mario 3D World coming to Switch. They revealed a bunch of Mario merchandise. But then at the end, they showed what was heavily rumored for, like, months at that point, which was a Mario 3D collection. Mario 3D All-Stars. Now, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. This is a good package. You get 3 amazing games in one package for $60. Great package. But here's the thing, right? The number one thing, obviously, is that for some reason, they thought it was a good idea to take this off store shelves, both physically and digitally, like 6 months later. Why? I don't understand. Like, if it was physical only, I could understand that, but digital as well? Like, why? And here's the thing, too. The other reason why I'm so kind of annoyed at this is because this package is only worth it to me if you have done one of 2 things. 1, never played these games at all. You know, great package. Or 2, you played them like 20 years ago and you don't have any of the original copies. But if you're someone like me who has played these games countless times, who still owns the original copies on their shelves, this package to me is like not worth it at all. I don't give a crap about portability, the enhanced resolution, the texture, or the UI updates, I guess. Like, I don't care about them. I wanted, like, actual remakes of this. I wanted to have, like, all these games in, like, the Odyssey style. That would have been great. But these aren't really remakes. They're like upgraded ports by like minimum amounts. And the fact that you're not only doing that, but you're taking these off the store shelves like 6 months later, like, what are you thinking? This was such a dumb decision. Like, again, great package for those who, you know, haven't touched these games before. It's great. But to take it off the store shelves like only 6 months later, and then it's never gonna happen, it's never gonna appear in the eShop ever again, like, it was so dumb. It was so dumb. I didn't buy it, thankfully. Like, we have 64 and Sunshine on NSO now. So what was the point of this? Like, I don't understand. And we'll have Wii eventually, I assume, on Switch too, so we'll get Galaxy. So again, this package becomes more and more, like, not worth it. So yeah, number one here for me, it's not number one on this list, but number one for me is definitely this, because this was a decision that at first looked cool, but once you, like, read between the lines a little bit, it's kind of shit. It's garbage, bad decision making, bad choices, just dumb Nintendo bullshit here. So, yeah, if you have it and you haven't played the games before, then hope you enjoyed it. But for me, this game was 0% not worth it to me. Alright, so at the number one spot, this might surprise you a little bit, but I think it makes sense to an extent. So, in 2011, Nintendo revealed their next console. Not the 3DS, but it was, of course, the Wii U. Now, if you had a Wii U and you were around during that time, like myself, you guys know the Wii U had a pretty rough life. Like, the big reason why it kind of flopped to me is because the marketing was absolute garbage. Like, they made the gamepad seem like an accessory for the Wii, their previous console. They did a terrible job marketing why this console, like, was actually new and worth getting. So, again, I like the gamepad, don't get me wrong, the gamepad's cool. But their whole message of, like, oh, it's a new console, but, like, the way it was shown off, it's like, oh, it's like a controller for the Wii, like, you're not gonna get rid of the Wii? And it's like, no, it's like the actual new console, it's like all HD now. Like, it was so bad, man. Like, the Wii U flopped for a very good reason. They just did not know how to market this thing. They could not, you know, showcase why it was worth getting. And it had good games, too. Like, I own a lot of the best games in the system. Like, Mario 3D World, I own that. Hyrule Warriors, I had that for a time. Mario Kart 8, Smash Bros, I had all of those. But, like, it didn't matter because these games weren't selling that well because the console wasn't being bought by people because they didn't have a reason to buy it. Like, HD was cool, but, like, the system wasn't, you know, unique enough, and the marketing was just so garbage. Like, people just didn't know why they had to buy a Wii U. So, thank God the Switch came out and it, like, you know, turned things around for Nintendo completely. But at this time, like, again, the games were great, but being a fan of Nintendo during, like, 2012 through 2016 was definitely a very, very rough time. That was definitely not a great time to be a big Nintendo fan because their games were overall great, but they weren't doing that well overall, and, you know, the Wii U was not selling. So, yeah, it was shit. So, number one, though, I'm surprised because I think 3D All-Stars and Sword and Shield and the other ones we have here are kind of above it. But, I guess ChatGPT bought a Wii U and they hated so much they had to put this number one. I don't know, but, there you go. Number one. Well, that was quite a list, so there you go. Those are 10 decisions by Nintendo that are controversial according to ChatGPT, and a lot of them I agree with. So, what did you guys think, though? Let me know in the comments what you guys thought and what you think is another bad decision by Nintendo, because there's probably a lot more that weren't on this list. So, I'm curious to know what you guys thought were some very bad Nintendo decisions. But in the meantime, subscribe, ring the bell, and smash that like button for more amazing ChatGPT stuff in the future, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody!